Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the phenomenal, incredibly colorful, and just wildly successful rise of James Rollison. But, you probably know him better as the creator behind TheOdd1sOut.
I mean, seriously, look at this art style. Those bouncy, adorable little marshmallow people basically scream, life is a joyful adventure. Everything is happy and we're all just having the absolute best time. So, if everything is so perfectly bubbly, why is his absolute most popular animation a bouncy song all about existential dread and the utterly meaningless nature of the universe? Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1, The Cheerful Existential Crisis. 112 million views. That is the staggering viewership for a video called Life is Fun, which is a collaboration he did with Boy in a Band. And it perfectly demonstrates this ultimate hook. He starts with this incredibly bright, happy animation, but the lyrics are discussing our tiny, absolutely meaningless place in the vast universe. By using this cheerful, upbeat medium to talk about an incredibly dark topic, James is effectively giving the audience a safe space to process their own anxieties. It is a wildly powerful visual and auditory hook. Moving on to Section 2, Hacking the YouTube Algorithm. And this brilliantly illustrates why his style worked so well. Prior to 2011, YouTube's algorithm loved these short, really high-quality animations that just racked up views. But when the system shifted to favor massive watch times and frequent uploads, it basically devastated the animation community. Studios that were taking months just to make a 2-minute video, they just couldn't survive a system demanding 10-minute videos every single week. It left a huge void on the platform. Well, James filled that void by keeping things incredibly simple. Those white marshmallow bubbles, that meant absolutely no coloring. He used what are called bounce frames, where a single drawing just moves slightly up and down. And by using really lightweight software like Paint Tool Sci, he could pump out these longer videos rapidly. It's a fantastic reminder that you don't actually need massive, expensive equipment to start creating. You literally just need an efficient system. And this simple style fed that new algorithm perfectly. After literally years of grinding away on Tumblr for a fairly modest following, James hit 15,000 YouTube subscribers in January of 2016. Then, in February, a 10-minute video complaining about ASMR blows up. 1 month later, a video about working at a sandwich shop goes viral. By August, so just 8 months later, he hits 1 million subscribers. Absolutely insane growth. Which brings us to Section 3, the magic of Subway. Now, what's really interesting about this is how James bonded with his audience over the completely mundane, hilarious misery of retail work. He deliberately mispronounced the name to make it feel like a local spot, and he'd share these games that employees played just to survive the boredom, like seeing how long you could hide in the walk-in freezer. Spoiler, the record was a whole hour. Or the time the store security alarm went off because the code was inexplicably changed to an employee's actual social security number. It's that raw, highly relatable vulnerability that just makes his content sing. And the internet rewarded that vulnerability big time. In the single month following his first sandwich shop upload, James gained a mind-boggling 300,000 subscribers. Think about that, 250,000 people tuning in just to hear a guy complain about making sandwiches. He proved you definitely don't need wild, clickbait adventures to succeed. Sometimes you just need to be authentically human. Next up is Section 4, Making the Odd Ones Out. Because you really shouldn't let this simple art style fool you. The production pipeline behind the scenes is actually fascinating. Here's a quick look at how they build an episode. First up, audio. James totally ad-libs in the recording booth, noting that a script doesn't need to be edgy to work, it just needs to be entertaining. Improv is key. Next, storyboarding locks in all the comedic timing. Then come the backgrounds, which are typically drawn with colored line art, so the plain white characters really pop. And finally, the character animation relies heavily on those bounce frames we mentioned earlier to keep everything efficient. Actually, scratch that. Saving time is a bit relative here. The team once spent 7 whole hours drawing an incredibly detailed, beautifully rendered nighttime city background, specifically for a completely throwaway 4-second joke about how terrible the movie Cats was. It's ridiculous, right? But it perfectly captures the absolute absurdity of pouring massive artistic effort into fleeting visual gags.
Let's move along and see how this builds into their overall team dynamic, because that absurdity is a core feature. James actively embraces the chaos his animators bring to the table. Need a character to roll downhill? Sure, let's just use a viral video of a fat raccoon rolling over its own head as reference material. His team is constantly pitching totally bizarre background jokes, like putting Master Chief in a bikini. Giving that kind of trust to the team, letting them inject their own weird flavor, well, it makes the final product so much richer over time.
And that takes us to Section 5, building a bubbly empire.
Look at the sheer scope here. What started as simple webcomics on Tumblr way back in 2012 has transformed into a massive, fully-fledged multimedia footprint. We're talking over 20 million YouTube subscribers. He co-created a TV show that dropped in 192 markets. He has this massive publishing arm with over 1 million books sold, plus a highly successful tabletop game division. All of this from a guy drawing little white bubbles. So the crucial point is that highly vulnerable, relatable storytelling completely transcends digital boundaries to build a real-world fan base. His animated series Oddballs ran for 20 episodes on Netflix. He's got 2 New York Times best-selling books. When he launched a Kickstarter for his food fight board game, Cafe Chaos, it was fully backed in under 7 minutes. No way, right? And he uses all of this clout for good, like donating his massive winnings from a Mr. Beast Battle Royale straight to Team Trees.
James Rallison really showed us that you don't need the flashiest animation on Earth to win over the world. You just need to be yourself. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. If a simple little marshmallow man can conquer Netflix and the publishing world just by admitting his flaws, complaining about retail work, and singing cheerfully about existential dread, well, what on earth is stopping you from unapologetically sharing your own oddities with the world? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.